Hi everyone, I am Bhumika and today we have with us Akanksha Choudhary. Her story is an inspiring tale for all those students who want to make it big in the corporate world, along with pursuing their hobbies, passions, and dreams. She is an alumnus of Sri Ram College of Commerce, where she secured fifth rank amongst her batch. She pursued her master's in business administration from IIM Ahmedabad, and she is currently working as a consultant with McKinsey. But that's just one part of it. Besides that, she is a top notch model and is the winner of Miss India Elite 2016. She has also represented India on international platforms and has worked with some of the top designers like Manish Malhotra and Tarun Tahiliani. We are very grateful to have you here with us, Akanksha. Welcome to our channel.
Thank you so much. That was a great intro.
You deserve it, truly. Uh, Let me give you some info about Akanksha. So she's from Ajmer, and I barely know anyone who does not know about Akanksha. She has made it so big. And Akanksha, tell us, how did you come to know about SRCC, and how did you decide to pursue, like, which course you wanted to pursue?
Yeah, so as a course, I think I was always more inclined towards commerce and economics rather than science or arts. So straight from 10th class, it was clear to me that I want to pursue commerce. Now within commerce, we have 3-4 options which I had, which was actuarial sciences, bachelor's in economics, bachelor's in commerce, or CA, of course. So I just find that just to pursue something too mainstream like a CA for me for 5 years is not something that I like. I like to experiment with new subjects, try a lot of things, and also just know concepts which are there on a theoretical level and then apply it actually in life. So for me, economics always stood out. Like I was a huge lover of economics, whether it's micro, macro, econometrics, everything.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do a bachelor's in economics. And for me, it was very clear if I want to do a bachelor in economics, it was either St. Stephen's or SRCC. Given that in my seniors were mostly from SRCC, I knew how the curriculum is going to be. I was more comfortable to go there, so I selected SRCC and applied for the same.
So how was your experience during college?
So SRCC is great. So I personally love North Campus in Delhi more. I think it's more fun. I was staying in a PG. It was for the first time that I was moving out of my home and just staying alone, trying to know what to make out of the outside world. So it was a great experience. It was very different also. I clearly remember I used to cry when my mom left me for the first time.
Yeah.
But I met great friends. The professors were the best. I just till date I talk to them. They are so great. They talk to my juniors about me and then we connect and everything. It's a great experience. And I also think that selecting economics was the right thing to do for me. I came to know about history of economics in India, across the world. There are so many theories in economics. Like it's just great minds all together and you come to know about so many concepts. So yeah.
Yeah. So there's this thing in SR that economics वाले लोग तो ज़्यादा पढ़ते हैं BCom वालों से. So what do you think about that?
I don't know ज़्यादा पढ़ते हैं या नहीं. I think थोड़ी सी seriousness ज़्यादा होती है.
All right.
Okay. So I remember one of my professor, he used to call us the purple cows. So it basically means that the majority of the students were from commerce and we were like the small batch who were from economics. So we were called like the purple cows. But yeah, we do have to study a lot. The reason for that is it's very mathematics heavy. At the same time, it's very social science heavy as well. So it's a lot of history plus it's a lot of mathematics. So you just end up studying a lot.
Yeah, I agree. So how did you get into modeling?
Okay, so it was such a fluke, to be very honest. I have this SRCC best friend of mine, Priyanka, and we both were just scrolling through our Facebook feed, and one of our senior was going to go to this pageant, beauty pageant, and we just decided, let us also give it a shot. So we both also went. Both of us went there by fluke. I got selected for the pageant. And then, I had my cat around the same time. So after the pageant, it was 1 month or so that my cat was going to be there. So I was just contemplating whether I should go to the pageant, give 15 days completely to it, or whether I should, stick to studying for cat, because it was such a pressure inducing time for me. So I remember having these long conversations with my friends, and they were like, this is a once in a life opportunity. You should definitely go. And then I went, and it all started from there.
All right. And you won the title also. So that's a great thing.
Yeah, so after I won the title, I was, so there was a media agency, like a model agency, that contacted me, and then I actually got shortlisted for their agency, and from there all the fashion shows and shoots started.
All right. By the way, you should check out her Instagram page for sure. She has all her fashion updates on her Instagram page.
My dog is here.
That's cute.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Because you, yeah, I have seen the pictures. So, how did you manage academics with modeling? Because economics is not an easy subject, and you had CAT also. So, what was the strategy?
So, how I pursued modeling along with all the studies, CAT preparation, economic honors, everything. A lot of people ask me this question. I think it's really not that difficult. So, there are 2-3 things which you definitely need for modeling, right? You need to exercise, you need to eat, right? And sometimes you do need to travel a lot whenever there are fashion shows and shoots. But you can always actually schedule them properly. So I had an open conversation with my modeling agency that Saturday, Sunday, Fridays are days when I'm more comfortable to do shows or shoots. And I also used to do only 1 or 2 shows or shoots every 10 days or so. So that's how I managed it. Also, since there is a lot of travel and there is a lot of waiting while we get our hair and our makeup done, or while we are not on stage, there is actually like a lot of backstage wait that we do. So generally during the time I would do most of my reading. So all my English in the CAT I covered during that time, and all the mathematics and other subjects, LRDI, I used to do while I am back home. So that's how I did it.
So the friends you have in the industry, in modeling, do they call you a nerd?
They definitely do. But they also respect that. So I actually like everyone in IIM or SRCC or McKinsey. They think that modeling is this different world and they feel it very cool. All my friends circle in my modeling, they think that SRCC and IIM is very cool. So I actually get to talk about a lot.
Yeah. So this is a very unique strategy that you follow, that you reserve your weekends for modeling or stuff that you want to do about yourself or work on yourself, whatever. That's a very nice strategy, because most of us, what we do is we have a to-do list, like people who follow schedules and stuff. So they have a to-do list for the whole day, and they would take out time in that day to just work on themselves. But you have a proper schedule for that. So that's really amazing. And
yeah.
So what are some?
Yeah, and the weekend stuff helped me in McKinsey also, right? So even if now I do my shows or shoots, I stick those things to the weekend. So it again helps me while I'm working in the corporate life as well. So.
Yeah. And you prepared for it like really early in college. So since college, you are very familiar with it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So what are some of the life lessons that modeling has taught
you? I think some of the unique life lessons that modeling has taught me is, firstly, you really cannot have various discriminations in your mind. Like, you need to be open to everything. There is so much in the world to explore, especially, coming from modeling industry, I've seen people who are homosexual, people who are bisexuals, and all of these, and the acceptance of them is so high. Like, everyone actually supports each other, and the community which is there, like, so every model supports one another. If I'll just give small examples. Like, if we forget our heels, like a black heels for a show, it's so important we have to wear the heels, and we cannot walk on the stage without it. So there are models who carry extra pairs just to help the person who would be in need. So all that help, support, That is one thing which I've learned a lot in modeling. It's a great community, and it teaches you a lot about leadership and a lot about team effort and teamwork and
And
acceptance.
and this would have helped you in McKinsey also, right? Or teamwork as such.
Correct. Correct. I think these are the things which help you look into your unconscious biases, right?
Hmm.
Because you would never know, but in a corporate setup, there are a lot of biases from which college you are, from which gender you belong to, from which
Hmm.
community you are, and so on and so forth. And this just helps you keep those biases aside and actually become like a good leader who, or a good team person who can create that environment in which everyone can thrive.
Yeah. That's really nice. So, how did you decide that you want to pursue MBA? And
Yeah.
what are some of the tips that you would want to give to all the CAT aspirants?
So I think the career option that you want to select after college has too many layers to finally go to MBA, right? The first is whether you want to go to a corporate world or not. The
Mhm.
second is whether you want to, even within the corporate world, what are the fields that you want to go. So for me, I am not someone who was too inclined towards government job right off the batch after college. It's
Mhm.
something which I see in the long term, something which I would, maybe something on my own, or a government college is what I would, or a government job is what I would do after, let's say I'm 45 or I'm 50. But in the initial stages of my career, I want things to be more like, more on the feet, more on
Yeah.
my face.
Dynamic.
So for that, yeah, I wanted to go to corporate because it definitely gives you that experience. The second thing about corporate for me was I wanted to have an experience which is global level. So I don't want to constrain myself to just the learnings of India when I go to
Mhm.
corporate. I want to see how globally other firms are performing. If, let's say, if I look into automation, I want to see globally what US is doing, what Switzerland is doing, or what any other country is doing, to actually know the best practices which are happening, right? So
Yeah.
for that, again, I was clear that I want to go into an MNC. And these are the 2-3 factors for which I knew that just after my college to enter into a master's in economics would not provide me such broad field, but MBA would. So I went into MBA.
That's really nice. And some special strategies for the CAT aspirants.
Yeah, so strategy for the CAT aspirants. Okay, I layer 2-3 things into MBA preparation strategy, right? This would go for CAT and MAT, every other exam. I
Hmm.
think the first very critical part is we need to go through the list of topics of these examinations very clearly. So for example, in mathematics, what all topics are getting covered? You don't want to do extra, you don't want to do small part of it. It should be exactly what the topics are there. Otherwise, you either waste your energy or you do not put your energy on the right area. So
Yeah.
that's the first thing. After you have selected those topics and you know them, basics of those topics are the first thing. And for this, I personally feel that coaching helps, because
Yeah.
it's just difficult to go through, let's say, 10th ka books or 11th or 12th ka books to go through the topics and learn the basics. Those building blocks are the most important piece, and I think coaching helps a lot in that arena. After that, once the basics are clear, it's all about experimentation, testing, giving a lot of mock tests on an India level. So that is the overall strategy. Now, even within mock test, there is a particular strategy that all the students should follow. The first is we should select mock tests which are on an India level. And second, those mock tests should give you certain kind of insights. Those insights are, if I select question A, how many students or how many percentage of the total students who sat for that exam selected that question A? So it helps me to know whether this question I should have attempted or not. Is it a question which is so difficult that not a lot of people attempted it, and that's why I'm putting my energy and my time on the wrong thing? The second is how much is the average time that a student took to attempt or to answer that question if they attempted it. So then again, it tells me that I took 5 minutes, somebody else took 1 minute. It means I'm missing something. Maybe there is a second approach that I'm not aware of, which I need to know, which I need to learn. So that's the second thing. And these two things would help you actually know that, let's say if there are 50 questions, what are the 30 questions I should attempt, and how much time I should give to each of those questions. And those things help a lot in every competitive exam setup. So I would always suggest these two major things.
Honestly, that's a lot of analysis that you have done, and I'm pretty amazed at it because I haven't heard it from I don't know, a lot of people. So that's really nice. I'm sure students might benefit from it. So
Yeah.
you, how was your interview experience at IIM Ahmedabad?
So I was actually late for my interview. Sadly, I lost a metro train and I went there late and everything. But the good part was that the economics professor who is in IIM Ahmedabad, who actually taught us microeconomics and macroeconomics in the years of my IIM experience, he was my interviewer. So he took my interview and he asked me a lot of questions about economics. So there are 4 or 5 things which get covered in every interview. First, of course, it's your communication skills and your background, your marks, everything. Then the major topics which are there are some questions around if I'm a fresher, since I had nothing to talk about my job experience, it was more focused on what I did in college. So a lot of question on my internships, what I did there, a lot of questions on what I find interesting, and then whatever I found interesting in economics, how do I apply it in a company? How do I apply it in a business? So for example, if I really like cost in microeconomics, how can I use that to actually help a company reduce its total cost? So how to, because this is what MBA is all about, when you learn concepts and then you go in the corporate and you apply those concepts. So a lot of questions are focused on that. Second are few things which are related to GK. So for example, in my case, universal basic income was a new concept which was getting debated. So what is my take on it? What is my view on it? How do I feel about that? So those were the questions, major questions.
Okay, so you must be very into with the newspaper and everything, right?
Yeah. So right before CAT, it's all about study materials and so on. Once you get shortlist, it's all about reading. I remember I used to have 3 newspapers every day, read them, magazines, major magazines like The Economist, all. So I used to read that, and I used to read a lot of blogs, because I think what's important in those GK questions are not to know the facts. Nobody actually asks you the facts as is, but what is your view on the facts? So for example, if Joe Biden gets elected as the US president, what is my view on it? That's more important, rather than knowing that these are the number of cities or states who elected.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So are you an avid reader right now also?
Right now, not that much, because I do not get a time. And now the readings, so I'll tell you what I read now. There is a McKinsey No portal that we have. It's no and KNOU. It's basically like a list of cases and all the case studies and whatever we have applied in the industry throughout our global practice. And whenever we start any new project, or whenever even within a project we start any new function, we actually go on know and read what globally everyone else has done, so that we already have a lot of knowledge on what to do, what to apply on, how it has been done in some place else, so to consult the client on the same. So that's the kind of reading I do, not a lot of newspaper and so on, but I do read the Ken. I think it's super interesting, and it
That's true.
has a lot of startup and all of that stuff, so that's fun.
So, being in IIM A, how did you decide that you want to go for consulting?
So I had 2 major options as per my interest. It was either finance or it was consulting, because HR or sales and marketing or general management is not something that excites me at this stage. I was more excited about either consulting or finance. Now, given that finance is one sector, one industry, one kind of work, every day of course you learn a lot of new things, but you are doing the same thing in the same industry. Consulting helps you go to so many different sectors, so many different industries. One month you are in auto sector, the other month you are, let's say, in media, the other month you are in pharma. So it's super interesting to work with these top-notch companies and learn about different sectors and learn about like different industries. That's what I wanted to do, because my long-term goal is to either start something of my own or to go into more niche consulting. And to actually decide on what I want to do, I need to know a lot of different spaces to finally, get my head onto one place. So I just want to explore for some years, and consulting does that the best.
Yeah, that's really nice. And I also agree on that we must explore things before getting our hands onto it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's great. And so once you got selected into McKinsey, so you must be aware, like you must have an idea about what are the skill sets that these companies, the consulting companies, look for. So what are those skill sets according to you?
Yeah, so the general process of recruitment has 2-3 stages. The first stage is, of course, shortlisting the CV. Then there are one set of personal interviews, and then there is either an internship, and then you get a PPO, or there are final round of interviews. So all three have very different requirements. For a CV, I've generally seen that most of the firm look for 1 or 2 peaks. And by peaks, I mean, if you divide your CV into 4 or 5 sections, let's say one is academic, one is your job or internship, then there would be some position of responsibilities. Then there can be either hobbies or extracurricular activities, right? So out of these 4 sections, what are the areas where you peak once or twice? So let's say in academics, 100 percentile would be 1 peak. Rank 1 in SRCC would be 1 peak. In job, it might be that you already have, let's say, 3 years of work experience with Google. That's a peak. In positions of responsibility, it can be if you are fresh out of college, you are the college president. So such kind of, if you have 1 or 2 peaks, then that is what gets you the shortlist, which is the first stage. Now, once shortlist is over, then all the different firms have very different criteria. Like, for example, finance companies would have interviews around all the finance jargons. And so one of my interview with finance companies, they actually told me to analyze 2 or 3 firms on their share prices, whether I should buy the share or whether I should sell them, how should I look into the pricing of the shares. In consulting, it's case interviews. So they give you 1 or 2 cases and you have to solve those cases, structure, so on and so forth. And after this, either if they are an internship, then you get the internship, you work there, basis your experience, they give you a pre-placement offer, or if it's a final interview, then you get another round of interviews and selections.
So
That's the process.
yeah. So for case preparations, because I am not aware of like many sources, but I'm aware that IIM has their own case study books, which are really nice. I've gone through them. So did you also use those case study books?
Yeah, so in SRCC, I did not sit for a placement. I was very clear that I don't want to work after bachelor's. I want to do my master's first and then do any job. So I had no experience at all on how to do the case prep, so on and so forth. My thinking there and how I solved the problem was I looked into case interview cracked on YouTube to get my basics clear, as in what is a case interview, how do I do the structuring. So it was just basics which I learned through YouTube. After that, yes, I use IIM A casebook, I use IIM B and C also. I also like IIM B ka casebook a lot because IIM Bangalore does, at least in my time, they used to do cases by industry. So let's say aerospace industry, and within the industry, what are the cases? So that is a next layer of structuring which is helpful. I also used to do some of the cases from internet. So for example, McKinsey, BCG, Bain, they all have some of the published cases on their website. And now they have also started creating for the shortlisted candidates a case portal wherein the candidates can go and see some of the cases which have appeared in the past interviews. So those are the 2-3 sources that I used.
That's really nice. I did not know about that. That's really cool. So how has life been at McKinsey?
It is very hectic, I will not lie, but it is
Okay.
also one of the best experiences. I think I'm so grateful, and I knew this right at the internship part that I want to be in consulting, and if it's
Mm.
consulting, then I completely fit in the McKinsey basket for 2-3 reasons. I love the people that I work with, and I think whenever we join McKinsey, there is one thing which everyone tells us, and that is build your own McKinsey, which basically means, because see, there are different projects here, there are different project managers, and it completely depends on you which project you want to go and try, which project manager you want to work with. So you create those small cohorts within the large McKinsey and then work with them and learn new things. So my experience in meeting those people have been very, very great. I work with some of the best minds, I can definitely say. Other than that, all my clients have also been very, very like respectable. They have been very supportive, and also it has been intellectually very stimulating. So all my clients, they interact, we do joint problem solving a lot, and I've tested. So now I worked in pharma, I worked in GEM, which is materials and energy, global
Okay.
energy and materials. I have also worked in TMT, which is media, telecom,
Yeah.
all of
Yeah.
that. So it's been great. I've explored different sectors.
That's really nice. That's really cool. So, because I have stalked your Instagram, and there are a lot of canvas paintings which are very, very beautiful. So, what is art for you?
Yeah, so I think I go through phases of various art forms, right?
Okay.
It's sometimes it's oil painting, sometimes it's watercolor painting, sometimes it's just doodling. And right now I'm in an interior designing mode. So my like my entire floor, since I've been at home for so long, I actually ordered a wooden bench. I'm creating a reading corner in my room, and I'm
Okay.
making paintings for that also. And I have ordered everything. I've decided all the designs, colors on my own. So I go through phases of these bursts of I want to do something, I want to try something.
Yeah.
But art really, it's a great way for me to stay calm, to release all my tensions, to just not think about anything, just take a brush and create strokes and be very calm. I think it's one thing that keeps me very calm, very focused, centered.
Yeah, kind of rejuvenates you after
Yeah.
like a long consulting day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you are also someone who values fitness a lot, and I know that it comes from modeling, of course. But as a person, how does fitness play a role in your life?
Yeah, so I think one thing that fitness has helped me a lot is to wake up early
Okay.
and and to have a peaceful sleep, both, because once you're tired you actually have a very peaceful sleep, and also fitness because you need to eat on time. Sometimes you need to exercise in the morning, it's much better, or do yoga in the morning, it's much better. So I wake up early, I'm already thinking of the things I want to do throughout the day, and that's why when finally I have my 9:30 or my 9:15 a.m. check-in on what I need to do for the day, I'm very clear, I'm sorted, I'm just not waking up and being like completely, what the hell am I supposed to do now? So I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
that's the great thing. The second thing about fitness, of course, is that it just makes you feel good. I personally feel like you don't feel angry. It just releases some of those toxins that make you feel happy, and you, when you stay fit, you feel good about yourself,
that's
and
true.
then
That's true.
it shows in your personality. So I think it
Yeah.
just enhances your personality in so many.
Mm, that's true. So, do you meditate also?
I don't meditate.
Okay. Okay.
I
So,
think my energies are too all over the place to meditate and sit. I'm sure I'll start thinking about something.
all right. So, since you seem like a very structured person, did you develop this from from college or from school, or have you developed it gradually in and the
I think it's a very long course of time where you develop, but the main peak, I would say, for me came in IIM Ahmedabad.
Okay.
because before that I was not even sure about structuring and all of that. But mathematics does help it a lot, because every time in mathematics you break something from top to bottom. So I just felt like throughout my education, since it was commerce, mathematics, and so on, it just helped to develop that. But most of it came in IIMA, because that is where the teachers sit down and they teach you how to structure everything properly, how to think very top down. So generally, at least in schools, what I've seen is it's a very bottom up thinking, wherein you think of something which is just at the base, and then you build and build, and you create a very big, large story, and then you come to know that, okay, this is finally my answer. After all of these calculations, or after all of this history, this is my final conclusion. But in IIMA or in McKinsey, what I've seen is that the top down thinking helps a lot. So it's called a hypothesis driven approach, wherein you have a hypothesis at the first place, and basis whatever the small learning, or the 80-20 principle, wherein basis the 80% of your analysis or your thinking, you think that this is my hypothesis, and then you test that hypothesis. And that's just, it's more structured way of thinking. It saves time, it saves effort. I think most of it I learned in IIMA and McKinsey.
That, like, I have asked this question to a lot of people, but that's the most mathematical answer I've got, and I'm really glad that you said that. So tell us two things. One, that you did really, really correctly over all this period, and one thing which you could have improved on.
Yeah, I think what I did completely correctly over the time was being clear about my final goals. Because, had I actually given my energy to a lot of things, maybe I would not have succeeded that well. For example, if I was trying for CAT and I was at the same time trying for, let's say, UPSC, I might not have cracked both, or I might not have cracked either. So just knowing that one thing is clear, of course, within that thing, you can experiment a lot. So for example, I definitely did not sit only for CAT. I sat for all the MBA entrance exams, because that's, you always need to have a plan B, but at least being clear about that one thing is clear. So for example, I sat for consulting and I sat for finance, but I did not sit for HR, or I did not sit for marketing and sales. So those broader contours of where you want to be after, let's say, a year, or after 2 years, or after 3 years, that thinking has helped me a lot. What I would have done better, to be honest, might be to just talk to more people. Because let's say, had I known that there is also another way of entering McKinsey, which is through Harvard, and then maybe it requires me to work for 2-3 years and then go to Harvard and then come to McKinsey, or something like that. Those alternatives I was not aware of, because I always had these few set of my seniors, or these few set of my people to talk to. And that maybe just constrained my overall knowledge of various directions slightly. So I think it was an informed decision, but not that informed as it could have been.
That's a very, I would say, a very honest answer that you had given right now. So obviously exploring is there, but you should always be in touch with people who have already tread on the similar path. Yeah, that's really nice. So Akanksha, last bit of advice from like, for all the students out there.
I think, okay, so all the students out there, let me think of what I would say to my 16-year-old self. Right? Let me think of that. I think, do not be extremely stressed about the final result. If you have done the preparation correctly, one way or other, you would get into something that you want to finally get into. Do not overstress. What we do, and I have experienced it during the first few mock tests that I did, or during the first few case interviews that I did, I was so much stressed about whether I would get selected, whether I would crack it, whether I would be able to do it on time, how others are performing. In that race, we get so focused on the output that we forget the approach, we forget innovative ways of thinking. So just putting that output and the final goal aside, and just thinking of the journey really helps a lot. I still remember I did this in my IIM interview, wherein, one of the partners, they asked me in my McKinsey interview when I sat in IIM, wherein one of the partners asked me, how was your day? And, I could have easily replied saying that I'm very stressed, but that time I was just not feeling stressed. And I said, I woke up to chirping birds on my veranda, and I'm feeling very good, because I had really, when I woke up, I had these huge, like a lot of birds sitting right on my balcony in IMA room. And that was such a good moment that helped me to connect with that partner and to just be there in the moment and not to think about the final goal. And I know it would have not affected my output at all, but it did helped me to calm myself and focus on innovative ways.
That's really nice. I think all the Gen Z obviously lacks somewhere in focus, and we are always distracted and stuff. So we need to slow down.
Yeah.
All right, Akanksha, that was really nice. We are very grateful that you joined us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Bye. It was lovely chatting to you.
Thank you.